Let's have the introduction first. Just I make some flashy, where I say that cotton is white, which means piece of life. And cotton and the spinning sector actually bringing the dreams of the thousands of people through of our country by employing a large portion of it. Currently, Bangladesh is now the biggest cotton importer of the world, where our total import figure is now reaching to 6.1 million bales, approximately, according to the recent data of USDA. In the year July ending 31, Bangladesh will import a record 6.15 million plus bales of this cotton fiber, which is up to 6.5% from a year earlier, according to the USDA. So Bangladesh's share of the global cotton export market doubled from 1995 to 2012. So in this period, Bangladesh also seen a remarkable rise in setting up the backward linkage of that's the textile industries. In my upcoming slides, you can get a better insight of that. So it's mainly because of the strong performance of the ready-made garment sectors, which is actually accounting 81 to 82% of our total export earnings. And the World Bank said in October report, since 2009, the nation has become the world's second largest exporter of clothing after China. So history of Bangladesh textile industries. After independence, the textile industries, along with many other industries, came under nationalization. During the nationalized period, textile industry had very limited growth because all of the factories were under the government control, and when it is under the policy support of governments, the timely decision was not made right at the time. So difficulties arise, which was putting a main obstacles in the growth. So ready-made garments export began in 1980, and from then, actually the investment in spinning and the backward linkage industry started in the private sector. So with adoption of the denationalization policy since 1983, new textile mills were set up in the private sector to meet the domestic demand. So to meet the growing demand of the RMG sector, new spinning mills were set up. Spinning capacity almost doubled in every 5 years. My upcoming slides will give you more insight of this. So actually the spinning industry, they experienced the boom from 1990s. Most of the sophisticated mills of our country that began to come into production after 93 or 94 or 1995. And as the deemed exporter for the yarn and fabrics to the ready-made garments industries. So just I like to give you an overview about the projected apparel market size and its breakup. If you see that there is a projection that in year 2025, the market will be 2110 billion US dollars. So this is the market of the total apparel market of the world, and you see the metrics where you are seeing the portion of the market which is dominated by which nations or countries: European Union, USA, China, Japan, Brazil, India, Russia, Canada, Australia, and rest of the world. So now, what would be the portion of Bangladesh in this market size, in this export market size, will be the main deciding factors for us as a nation in coming years, because as we are visioning to have a 50 billion export in 2021 and a middle-aged country by 2041, it mainly depends on what would be our market share in this graph right from next 10 to 15 years. So this is, sorry for the graph is a bit hazy because I didn't get the time to put make some editing on it. So in this graph you're seeing that what is the fiber composition in terms of world apparel market. If you see the graph from 1992 to 2000, you see the synthetic fiber is the yellow one. You see the growth trend of the synthetic fibers right from 1992 and 2000, and the growth of cotton. So it is the in whole of the apparel market, if we divide it according to the fiber composition, So this graph is actually putting the view in front of us, where it is shown that in 2007, 36.3% of the whole apparel market, depending on the cotton fiber, which came down to 32.9% in the year 2010. And I don't have the data from 2010 to onwards, where I'm pretty sure I just look into the graph, where now it's less than 32.9% of the cotton portion of the world apparel market. So now let's have a look at the size of Bangladesh textile industries in a short brief, where we have 413 year spinning mills, fabric weaving is 792 mills, dyeing and printing 240. So we have altogether 145 factories which are enlisted in our association as backward linkage, along with their production capacities per month. So what is the contribution of these textile industries in our economy? So it is the largest investment, the single largest sector who has the highest level of investment in Bangladesh, which is over 4.5 billion. So it contributes almost 12% of our total GDP. 81% of export earnings comes from textile and its related products. So primary textile sector actually meets 85 to 90% of our yarn demanded for knit. On the other hand, 35 to 40% of the yarn demand for woven RMG sector. So PTS meets local yarn demand for handloom factories and local fabric demand. PTS provides employment to around 6 lakh people, and textile sector employs more than 5 million people. Most of the workers are which female, so female empowerment is actually made possible for the contribution of textile in Bangladesh. If the huge investment in this sector actually made a very vital role in our socio-economic development by empowering the women. So it generates huge clientele base for banking, insurance, shipping, transport, hotel, cosmetics, toiletries, and other related activities. So you see actually the whole service sector of Bangladesh and the financial sectors are now evolving in one particular sector, that is the RMG and primary textiles. Moreover, this primary textile sector generates around 1200 megawatt power through its captive generators, and these plants are very much efficient. Most of the plants have their own co-generation system, where our power generation efficiency is 32 to 39% compared to government is only 32%. And in case of many of our mills have the co-generation, where their combined heat and power efficiency goes to almost 90%, which is something really remarkable. So what is the contributing growth for the textile industry? Definitely the huge demand for the local people, and the per capita consumption of the fabric, and actually the middle income group of Bangladesh. I don't have the data with me right now. Actually, their purchasing power of this middle income group and lower middle income group has raised significantly over the last few years, which actually propelled the growth of this particular sector. So growth of RMG export and its increasing demand, encouraging the more investment in the spinning sector as backward linkage. The GSP facilities provided by the European Union definitely encourage the RMG industries to use our local yarn and fabric, and the continuation of policy support by the successive governments, introduction to back-to-back LC system, bond facilities, and monetary and fiscal supports. Actually, all of them coupled together to give this boost to our economy and textile sector. So this is a growth trend of spindle capacity in Bangladesh from the year 1985 to 2015. So where you say that from 1995 to 2000, it's almost 86% growth in terms of spindles. From 2000 to 2005, it's almost 98% growth in spindles. So where 2010 to 2015, it's a big 31% growth we have shown in terms of spindles. So actually, if you've seen this figure, someone can assume that this industry is almost reaching to its mature stage. In case of spinning, all of my previous speakers said, that's very much capital intensive as well as power intensive. So these infrastructural problems and the unavailability of the gas and other issues actually putting some brakes on the speedy growth of the spindles, which is clearly visible in the last 5 years data. So I just put it in the graph where you see the number of mills. In 1985 we have only 21 mills, where in 2015 we have 413 spinning units in Bangladesh. So I just put the data in graph so for you to have better understanding. So what is the cotton import position of Bangladesh? So you see from 2010 to 11 to 2014 to 15. So each year we have been growth by from 4.378 million bales, now it reaches to 6.103 million bales. Whereas the total RMG export of Bangladesh was 17.91 billion US dollar in the year of 2010-11, where it reaches to 5.50 billion in the year of 2014 to 15. So each year the RMG's total export is increased 78 to 79% per year. So just you have a quick look on the graph. We just put the figures into graph, the growth rate of the total cotton import and with the RMG export. So actually you see there's a correlation of the RMG export increase and the cotton import. So actually it's not proportionate, but here it gives you an idea how much cotton we might need if we want to achieve the $50 billion export in the year 2021. On a projection of us, we calculated that around 10 to 11 million bales might be needed in year 2020 to 2021. So investment trend, that is the importance of capital machineries under bond and non-bond in million Dhaka from 2010 to 12 to 2014 and 15 in Bangladesh. You see the growth rate. Don't want to put, just recall the figures again. You have a look on it. So I just put the graphs on it where you see the investment amount in Dhaka made in this sector. So now, Bangladesh textile industry, especially spinning mills, are using raw cotton as their prime raw material. Our only raw material is cotton. So due to trend of using RNG products made by man-made and other fiber, the spinners are now using above fiber to produce artificial filament yarn. As a result, use of artificial filament yarn has been increasing significantly. That I also discussed in my panel discussion, where I said that the cotton is now really being challenged by the other man-made fibers, and in many spinning mills like us, we are now actually allocating some of our capacities to produce the man-made fibers, and rather we are putting more spindles right now to make the PC or CBC or other specialized type of yarn. So you see that import data, total cotton import in the year 2014, total polyester yarn import in 2014, 51,729 tons, and total viscose import. So if you see the growth of polyester import between the year 2014 and 15, it will give you a trend idea what is the pace of growth in case of the polyester and man-made fiber. I just put the figures in charts. Still is far behind, but the growth of the man-made fiber is really very remarkable. So this gives an idea about the China and Bangladesh cotton imports from the year January 2011 to June 2015, where you see that we almost reached 6, if I'm not right, yes, that 1,000 bales, like 6.1 million bales, where the Chinese import has peaks and downs because it mainly depends on their policies, because they have right now they have the highest level of stock of China. So if you see that Bangladesh imports is a very steady growth from the year 2011 to 2015, and for the last 2 years as the China is not importing that much, so now that these two curves converge almost in the same level. So what is the future prospect of Bangladesh? So domestic fabric demand of Bangladesh will definitely rise, that I said before, because of the higher purchasing power of our middle and low income group, who are actually dependent on the mainly of our domestic fabrics and garments. So RMG export will definitely keep its pace and increasing pace to achieve the target of 50 billion in year 2021. So timely policy support from the government is the most vital issue for this particular sector to keep the pace. So setting up the new economic and special economic zone where the government of quick industrialization, because right now our government has made some points very clear to the investors that they are not going to give us the chance to set up the industries in the farmland. So rather they are trying to centralizing some of the specific zones and allocating and giving some special incentives to set up the factories over there. So these special economic zones and economic zones, when they will be right on track and when they will be in operation, I hope the scenario will make significant improvement from now, because they are committed to give the uninterrupted power and gas supply to those economic zones. So it's definitely an export-led economic growth that our country now needs. So to realize the future prospect, primary textile sector have to play a significant role. Spinning capacity will have to be raised significantly. More than 11 million of bales imported cotton will be required by 2021. That's a study done by our association. So let's have a look at the strength, weakness, and opportunity analysis of these textile markets of Bangladesh, where we have the competitive price of manpower, our GSP facilities to European market, and very focused in our global market. Our focus is very much sharp, I will say. So an appropriate backward linkage till today. So what are the weaknesses in short terms? The gradual reduction of policy supports. I'll not say the gradual reduction, it should be the timely requirement of the policy support. So we are not a textile manufacturer. We are not a cotton growing country, so our cost of capital is high compared to our competitors, and inadequate infrastructure. So these are the main weakness in a nutshell, but I think this, if we can solve the last one, the inadequate infrastructure, so the other problems will be solved automatically. So just opportunities, what are the big local and international market? So lack of production in woven yarn, that's one of my colleagues asked, as most is still imported from India, Pakistan, China, and Turkey. So there is a niche market still in the woven sector. So while textile and clothing market is growing, so buyers are now moving to targeted countries. So large volumes and economies of scale are needed. Bangladesh is strong in sweater, knit, denim, and home textiles. And especially the big buyers are now going to the untapped countries where the brand is still not established. So the buyers are giving preference to countries and companies which have the vertical operations to meet lead time and fashion changes. Local fabric availability is one of the key vital factor here. Bangladesh is the only nation, it's not the only nation, I should say, it's one of the nations who is actually excelling in dual supply chain management for export, using local inputs and imported inputs. Just let me give a brief on that. So whenever you are exporting our products to outside, if you see that some of our inputs are local, like labor, investment, power, and some of our inputs are from imported, like the cotton, some of the fabrics or accessories. So we do have now the capability to blend these inputs on a timely manner. That's why we are not able to meet the lead time of our buyers, and that is the most deciding factor to place orders in Bangladesh in coming days. This supply chain management is something very crucial for a particular country, for a particular exporter, and it needs a time to reach in this stage. So vast scope for synthetic yarn and fabric manufacturing. Still, we don't have that much capacity in this sector. So we do have the potentiality for joint venture. We are the only LDC who have the big backward linkage industries. So what are the threats? We have the limited product range. So our environmental issues are now very critical. Government is putting very much tough agendas on that. to protect our future generations from the environmental impacts, and the entrepreneurs are now coming forward. And the young generations like us, we are very aware of these environmental issues. So limitation in sourcing of RNG, high price of gas and electricity, and non-availability of gas and power connection. These are the most big threats for us right now. So in a conclusion, if I sum up the whole presentation, that the economy is growing impressively. Textile sector performance is very good, and it will continue to play the pivotal role in the future development of our country. So to maintain its present position, spinning and the primary textile sector needs huge investment in utilizing the present spinning capacities as well as raising the future capacities because of our full dependence on imported cotton. So Bangladesh is now the major player in cotton market and is very focused in terms of quality perspective. So the last few lines, I just like to draw all of your attention. It is now the second generation of the spinners and the new generation who is much more efficient technically. Negotiation skills are much better, so more updated, and does enough market analysis before cutting any cotton deals. So these are the few areas where we're really working hard, the new generations. We have now spent a huge amount of time on technology, on negotiation skill. So if we can particularly improve our skill on these particular sectors, I think most of our difficulties in common issues will be solved. So no one can never ignore Bangladesh. We can never ignore Bangladesh means the shippers can never ignore Bangladesh. So cotton consumption in Bangladesh is increasing day by day, and I hope this primary textile sector will play the most significant role in empowering the women and helping the export growth that we need to achieve $50 billion by 2021. Thank you.